are going to go to the Big Island, or Hawaii Island, for Ho'olaulea, festooning Hawaiian style. And at this time, we would like to welcome our feature designers, Miss Vivian Liu from Vancouver, Canada, from Arbutus Florist. And she was the winner of HFNA's first Tropical Nouveau Bridal Bouquet competition in 2020. Hi, Viv.
Hi, Jeff. Hi.
Hi, so happy to have
Good to see you.
Thank you for joining us. And then we also have Leah and Kelsi Mercado of Ainahua Flowers from Kamuela. There they are. And also our extinguished hostess, Miss Hitomi Gilliam, AIFD from Bowen Island in Canada.
Yes.
So we're really getting excited, and I'm sure you are too. So let's start the video.
So aloha e kako, e komo mai. Welcome everyone to Ho'olaulea 23, festooning Hawaiian style. So we're gonna have a lot of fun today, okay guys? That's probably the only requirement today. You gotta have a lot of fun. You learn as much as you can. There's so much information today that you'll get exposed to. And then what I want you to do is, if you don't mind, to the person to your left, or if you know them already, give them a hug. But the person to your right, if you don't know them, please introduce yourselves right now. Get to know your neighbors, yeah? So now that you know your neighbors and we're all friendly and want to keep it that way, I got some housekeepings. We are here today to experience HFNA's Island of Hawaii Floral Design Workshop that has a stunning lineup for us today of designers. And first, I'd like to introduce Hitomi Gilliam, AIFD from Design 358 in Vancouver, Canada. Thank you, Hitomi. Secondly, of course, we have Vivian Liu, Arbutus Florist from Vancouver, Canada. And we also have our very own Leah and Kelsi Mercado from Ainahua Florals of Waimea. Yeehaw! Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for you guys. I don't have to say enough of this. You're going to learn so much from these four designers. They have so much information packed. You got to really listen, take notes, yeah? And now I'm going to turn it over to Gordon. But before I do, I want to introduce, this is Gordon Inoue, our Big Island Director for Hawaii Floriculture and Nursery Association. And he's helping me do some of the announcements this morning. So Gordon.
Yes, thank you, Eric. Good morning. As most, I'm sure that you all realize that putting on an event like this takes considerable expense and effort, and it wouldn't be possible without the sponsors that we've had to put this on. Our platinum sponsors are the USDA Agricultural Marketing Service, the Hawaii Department of Agriculture, the Hawaii County Department of Research and Development, the University of Hawaii College of Tropical Agriculture and Human Resources, otherwise known as CTAR, and the Cooperative Extension Service. Synergistic Hawaii Agricultural Council, otherwise known as SHAC. I'm sure you've heard of that term. The Hawaii Tropical Flower Council, of course, our home organization that works on this project. And our title sponsor, none other than Greenpoint Nurseries. How about a big hand for Greenpoint Nurseries? Our gold sponsors are Nutrient Ag Solutions. Again, they provide the lion's share of the nutrients and the chemicals that we use for our farms. And we also have silver sponsors, FedEx and sponsors, Bootsticks, Floridec Hawaii, and Packline Hawaii. So how about a big hand for our sponsors? Thank you.
Thank you, Gordon. And for those of you who don't know, Hawaii Floriculture Nursery Association cannot do this without these sponsors at county, state, and federal levels. So we really appreciate the government's support. I want to also close with some words of wisdom shared to me by our friend Phil Rolota, AIFD, at our AIFD symposium this year in Chicago in July. He simply said, flowers are a vehicle to help people. So let's use flowers in our livelihoods and in our businesses to help people, whichever way we can. But let's get flowers as a medium to try and help people through the day or celebrate the great times in their life. Yeah. So with that said, mahalo nui for everyone. Enjoy festooning Hawaiian style. And I'd like to call up Vivian Liu from Arbutus Florist in Vancouver, Canada. Come on down, Vivian.
Welcome to here, the Big Island. So actually this is my probably first time here in Hawaii to present my design. Before I become a florist, I've been a graphic designer for 15 years. I think that experience gave me some of my attention to dramatic and then constructural kind of design. So that is to say, in my design, I wanted to pay more attention to composition and to the movement. The first design is a vase design. It can be placed on a front desk of a hotel or even somebody's console at home. Normally, when you design in a cylinder vase, so you know how the flowers all goes like this way, right? Radiate. So it's hard to kind of achieve these kind of linear and the minimalized kind of style design. So I actually just used barbecue skewer to like pierce through each of these thick hanging heliconia stems. So it can just stand by itself, okay? So if you feel a little bit wobbly, it's unstable, what you can do is use a stick and cut the end in half and then use a rubber band to tie at the end as a peg. So you can peg at the edge of the vases and then tie to the heliconia stem to actually strengthen it. Okay, so now actually it's like really stable. It won't move at all. I love these roots. They are so dramatic and can create a lot of like unexpectation for your design. Okay, so what I do is I just kind of roll this, and then probably you can roll to another way like this, and then you use a paper wire just to twist it and to secure it, and then just secure it on the barbecue skewer or the heliconia stem. So you create this kind of like a banyan root cloud here. So it's time for me to put the flower in. I use red raffia and then these leftover mason jar ring. So you may, I don't know about you, but we have tons of these mason jar ring in the store. And then I just hated to throw it away because I feel like it's so guilty, right? So this is a good way to reuse and repurpose them. So I create this disc. So the good thing about this disc is it can hide your mechanic, hide your water tube. So it's just easy just to put it in like whatever direction you want, like this, and put your flower in, and then just boom, boom, boom. So the banyan root will hide your the green water tube for you. And then because Chinese New Year is all about red and gold, I have this beautiful obaka, right? Is that obake? Obake anthurium. So these actually can insert directly in the water. So this is the advantage of using this structure and then the vase, because you can actually either tie your material with like water tube and put it in arrangement, or just put your flowers directly to the vase in the water. Now, actually, it is already a finished modern design. But because I'm Chinese, so actually Chinese shanshui painting has a big influence on me. So what was the basic rules in Chinese shanshui painting is, we have saying that when you paint, so you have to have some area that is very dense. You have all these details and everything, and then this dense area, even the air cannot breathe in. And then you have to have some area that is blank. And then with that blank, even a horse can run through. So you have to have these like contrast. So then you have some area that is like kind of like in the middle. So then your painting gonna looks great. So then when I look at this design, I was thinking, okay, so I have my dense part that is no air can breathe through, right? But what about negative space? What about my horse? Okay, so then I found this. So the iron tree actually is like, we see it everywhere on the island. I love this so much. And thank you, Eric, for letting me cut from the tree from your nursery. Okay, so what I do is I just insert this directly in the vase, but through the banyan root. So then the banyan root can help you to hold this stick, this iron tree branches, like vertical. So now I think just this one little branch kind of like changed the whole atmosphere of this design. Because now these arrangements have negative space, and then they have movement, and then it kind of like interact with the environment around it. So, and then another approach is you can, this is, I pre-spray painted the stick in red, and then you can just go around. This kind of like finish up the whole design. So first let me talk about these funny shape, fun Chinese palm. Elizabeth helped me to cut it into this shape. So cut out all these like fuzzy leaves and then just leave the center. So it creates some dramatic effect for this arch. This is my area that is really busy. This is the area that even air cannot go through, okay? And then I have this space. Well, you will say, okay, so this space actually, you have a lot of leaves, podocarpus leaves, right? But then, because greenery always, in flower industry, greenery always we treat it like just the base, right? So this is actually my horse can go through, okay? So this is to say I actually designed this in grouping. So this is one group, this is another group, a smaller one, and then this is the third group here. So you have 3 different style of group combined together. And you know, in flower industry, we love 3. We love triangle because it creates comfortable and then stableness to our eyes, to our visual. Okay, so that's why I always create like 3 group. But 3 group have to be, each one has to be different sizes and different character. So I want to thank Allison for waving this leaf for me late in the midnight yesterday. This beautiful acacia leaf, we can actually just wave it into this, or we can wave half of it and leave the other side open. I think that's it for the arch. And then, so my 4th presentation piece comes from my passion about fashion design. I used to dream to be a fashion designer, but unfortunately, because I'm here to present as a florist, you see that, well, my dream still remains as a dream. But just don't get me wrong, I still love fashion design. And then now, actually, I can combine 2 of my passion together with doing flower fashion, like, you know, a beautiful girl, let's welcome my beautiful model, Veronica. So first, I actually built inside a liner with burlap. So it's as my base. I wanted to create something dramatic with Chinese fan palm. So this is what I do. Okay, so what I do is just split it into like small pieces like this, and then just loop it. The hat piece is actually create hairpin. And then I just use green tape, the waterproof green tape to tape this, and all others is just glue, use cold glue. Thank you everyone, thank you Veronica to be my beautiful model. And then thank you everyone who ever helped me with my work. And then next, let's welcome Leah and then Kelsi.
Yes.
Yeah, please.
Our next special guests here are from our own big island of Hawaii, Leah and Kelsi Mercado. So let's give them a big hand. They're from Ainahoa Flowers of Waimea.
Hello everybody, thank you for joining us today. I wanted to thank HFNA for allowing us to be here and presenting what we can share with you. I'm Leah, this is Kelsi. We work at Ainahoa Florals in Waimea, and today we're going to show you various methods of lei making, and graduation is our celebration theme for today. So graduation is a big part of Hawaii. When you're in high school, after you graduate, everybody has leis up to their ears, on their arms, everywhere. But you really start learning how to make lei when you're in elementary school. So the first one we learn how to make is a tea leaf. This is a single tea leaf lei made out of this material, the tea leaf here. This one has a lot of different uses for us here in Hawaii. So to make the tea leaf lei, We actually soften this over an open flame a couple times, 1, 2, 3, and then you'll see it goes from shiny and then it gets soft and a little dull. So from here, we just twist it together and we make our lei. So this is our single style tea leaf. And then if you want to get fancy, you can cut up the tea leaf itself into little strips and you can add it to your lei. And you'll get a tea leaf with extra tips. We call this tea leaf maili style. I know a lot of people have a hard time getting maili nowadays because of the forest, over picking, over harvesting. So this is a good alternative for maili. It's also long lasting. We don't burn the leaves that we tuck in. We find that it does last a little longer. It can probably last maybe for 2 weeks, not burned. But if it is burned, it does turn brown faster. Another popular one for Hawaii is head lei. So today we have our Vili style, made with various items grown here on the island. So we have our bird of paradise that we grow on our farm. We have some mini kimi ginger, we have midori, some orange cymbidium, along with the Song of India. We have a little bit of mini tea leaf, and of course the palapalai. Kelsi's gonna talk about the haku again. So the lepo'o is our Hawaiian flower crown. This style of the Vili style is one of the more popular styles, a way of making this lei. So we use a backing and we just weave with raffia around the backing. We like to use braided raffia. A lot of other people will use banana leaves or tea leaves or basically anything that you have available. We also like to cover our raffia, to cover our mechanics as best as we can. So on the back as well as on the sides, so that you don't see any of that. As much as possible, we like to try and do our best there. And you can, Vili any flower really, as long as they just have a little stem. If it doesn't have a stem, you can create your own with some wire. And yeah, we like to do it in a pattern, a repeating pattern here. So the first two, the tea leaf and the Vili style haku lei, these are more traditional methods of making lei. You don't have to use too many other things like besides the material itself. The raffia is natural too. But to go into other leis, we have the ku'i style, which you actually use a needle and thread. So today we did a double style orchid, and using the tea leaf again, we softened it and we made little rosettes. We also added in some mini cymbidium orchids that were donated from Shelly Anderson at Orchids in the Mist in Volcano. This style is a little more upgraded from just a single lei. So having a flower shop in Hawaii, leis are a big part of what we do. Our flower shop alone, we sew hundreds of leis every year. And especially during graduation, we want to maximize our time sewing the leis. Most of the time, we're able to get just the blossoms already plucked off the stems from the farms. But a lot of times, we need to prepare our own flowers. So most people will just go with their scissors and cut off the blossom off of the stem. For us, that just takes a little bit too much time for us. When you have, 100 leis you need to make in one day, that method is just not efficient. So what we do is we like to just weave our fingers in between the individual stems. So you weave your fingers in between the individual stems and you can just pull it off that way. We also pluck the stems from the flower the same time we put it on the needle. We like to use a doll needle versus the traditional lei needle. The doll needle is a little thicker, it's much hardier. You can buy it at any craft store. So what we do is take the flower and we just use our pointer finger and we just pluck off the stem the same time we put it on the needle. This way you don't need to touch the flower as much so that the flowers stay nicer for longer. They don't bruise as easy, and you also, again, are maximizing your time. A lot of lei makers don't pluck and sew at the same time. They still prepare all their flowers first, and then they put it on the needle. But again, when you have a lot of leis to make over a short period of time, we just found that this was a little easier to maximize the little time that we have. And our next lei here, this lei is our akuli lei. A kuli is an ice plant. It is also sewn in the kui style. For those of you familiar with ice plants, you know that they come in a variety of different colors. Here on our island, the popular colors are strawberry, which is a fuchsia pink. This one here is a Maui pink. It's a more corally salmon tone to it. We also have baby pink. We have red, orange, and yellow. The colors are seasonal. So this time of the year, mainly the pinks bloom. Closer to spring months, you'll see more abundance of the orange, yellow, and red. So a kuli lei, it's a famous Waimea lei. It started off with back in the days of paniolo. So paniolo are the Hawaiian cowboys. They needed something to hold down their hats while they were riding on their horses. So they would adorn their hat with a lei. And in Waimea, everybody had this plant growing in their yard. Although it is a succulent and it will grow in all different environments, it doesn't bloom in all the environments. You need to have a higher elevation. So how high are we in Waimea? 20, 25. Okay, thank you. So a little higher elevation with really cool nights and nice sunny days, and that is when your flowers will come out in abundance. We like to sow it when it's budded, so these flowers do open and close with the sun, so we'll pick it either in the early morning or in the early evening when they're starting to close again. As you wear the lei, the flowers will start to bloom, and so it fills out all the spaces and it looks nice and full, like more of like a feathery lei. So that's a kuli. And just like any other lei, once you know a style and how to make it, you can use any variety of flowers to sew the lei. So again, like for example, we sewed the tuberose in the same fashion as we did this kuli. Although we only use 3 flowers instead of the 5 because the blossoms are a little larger. We made this lei here in the same kuli style. And this is just the kimi ginger and the red ginger. And we just plucked off the individual petals, and we just pinched it at the base and we put it on the needle in the same fashion that we did the kuli. Does anybody have any questions?
How long will it take you to make that?
This lei, the first lei that we ever made took us 2 hours. 2 hours.
Now it's about 45 minutes.
Yeah, it's about 40. If we're not talking or distracted or
doing something else, if we just concentrate, 45 minutes.
And this is not including, go out to picking.
Not including the picking.
Just the sewing.
Just the sewing, it takes about 45 minutes,
Yeah, how much?
How much do we sell this lei for? Okay, so the Ainahua Florals has been selling this lei to the local people since the 1960s. And back then, everybody in our town knew how to make this lei. Now it's kind of like a dying art. Not too many people know how. We do understand that it is very labor intensive, but we do want to keep it affordable for the local people. So we do sell it anywhere between $55 and $75.
Wow, that's cheap.
And we do know that, we do know. But we want to be able to let the local people have this lei. We don't want to price it out for them. I mean, make it too expensive, especially during graduation, because you don't only buy one lei.
your graduate has lays all the way to the top. So we want to be able to let them not only get one, but several lays.
So we just gathered some coconuts and arranged it in the cylinder. A little podocarpus and some areca in there. And then now we're gonna just add some flowers. So we have our white dendrobiums. These are from Greenpoint. So I'll just add them in. And we just have a little chicken wire on the top. There's a chicken wire on the top. Just to help it stay together. So when we do make arrangements, how we see here, these came with the plastic on it, so we would usually just separate this. This goes into the trash. But as we're making the arrangement, we also have a green waste bin next to us. Our flower shop is located on farm lots. So a lot of our neighbors have pigs or goats, so they actually come to our flower shop 3 times a week and collect our green waste from us. So we collect it in big rubbish cans. He dumps it on his little wheelie, and then he takes it to his animals. He says the animals love chewing on all the stems, including the fat ginger stems, like jungle king stems. The pigs love it, the goats love it. They get to eat something else besides just grass every day. So we usually trim, everything goes into the green waste bin, which I don't have one right now, but I would. And then we can just continue to flower our little tree here. So these oncidiums, they're very long lasting and they're a very nice bright yellow color. They make everything happy. Well, I think they make everything happy. So we just like to shake it out a little to get the stems separated. And then we just add them in. So that would be an idea for a centerpiece. And keeping the lei theme, besides making leis this size, we can also make it in a large size to be used as a table centerpiece. So this is made in the same way as at the lei po'o there, Vili style with the raffia. We have a repeating pattern. We have the monstera, we have the ironwood pine again, some seed, Bolderic's hair, Song of India, the bird of paradise. So this way you want to get your flowers that you're choosing. The next thing in the pattern would be the monstera. So we're just wrapping on a larger scale. The next thing in our pattern would be the bow tea leaf. So another use for the tea leaf, you can also just bow it, add it to your lei, and keep going. To make this table garland, you can also use wire. That's really secure. If you have super heavy items, wire is really good, it stays there. So next we're gonna bow some of the pine here. Just wrapping. Put some of our seeds in. This adds some nice texture to it. Seed. So you can do this with tropical flowers, anything gathered really, eucalyptus, if you have some maple leaves in your yard, grasses, bougainvillea, anything. You're just creating a pattern and going over and over again. And then you just keep going until you have the length of your table. To finish it off, usually we just do a slip knot at the end here. So this is another idea for table decoration. If you have, where you have your long tables, it could be used pretty much anywhere. Table, even if you have a stage, you can lay it right across the front of the stage. If you don't want to vili it, you can just place it on the stage like how we had it earlier. This one is one of our popular for table garland, tropical table garland. Most of the time we do something big like this. You can add any kind of flowers you want. Add more color, you can add some anthuriums, orchids, but we just kept it kind of simple. These are all things that we could gather from our farm, pretty much.
Big hand for the,
Thank you. Thank you.
An honor to introduce Ms. Hitomi Gilliam, AIFD, and I would start going through her accolades, but they're too numerous for me to even try to remember. So
I don't want to live up to it either, so it's okay.
Anyhow, it's all listed in our program. And again, the biggest thing about Hitomi is that she's been a friend of Hawaii agriculture and Neotropica for many, many years. And so we are very, very grateful that she continues to participate with us, help us organize these events, and through her network being able to bring the finest designers available to these events. So how about a big hand for Hitomi?
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So yeah, I'm practically Hawaiian. Everybody thinks I'm from Hawaii, but I'm really actually from Canada. So anyway, to start off the festooning Hawaiian style, what I thought is that maybe it's kind of my take, mainland take, of festooning Hawaiian style, meaning for me to use Hawaiian style flowers. How we can use it on the mainland, as I teach all over, that in adding the addition of Hawaiian tropicals really adds like an amazing value to the color, the texture, the feel. You know, it's kind of almost like cross-cultural too, that it has that little bit of, you know, sort of cultural mixture too as well. So that's kind of how I'm going to approach festooning Hawaiian style. I'm going to actually bring on, as I go up on stage, I'm going to bring on Sue Tabao Yamaguchi AIFD EMC from Honolulu, and Lois Hiranaga AIFD as well with me, because we are a team of educators that HFNA works with. We don't have Dottie from Kauai today, but she is part of our team as well. And we'd like for you to know that we work together, we like to talk out ideas together, and so that we can share it with you, the latest and the coolest, we hope. So anyway, if Lois and Sue can come up here so that they can be of assistance to me, that would be fantastic. And the reason why I do this, because I'm getting older and sometimes the names of material doesn't pop in my head, so I have two other brains with me that's going to help me to be able to identify some of the product. As well, a little bit of discussion of how we do things and what it's for. And also, like, I am also going on the sustainability side, so I'm going to talk a little bit about sustainable design systems that will help you create close to net zero waste. I mean, because I think that's really important. And I think for any of you islanders, you know on the island that is really important because we don't want to pollute the ocean. So anyway, I'm going to start out with a couple of things that I got near finished, and I'm going to sort of go through some of the mechanics. So this one here is a horizontal piece. So this could be really great, don't you think, for like a food table, where like a buffet, so that because it has very small footprint, flowers are lifted over it, so it's not in the way, but you get to see the beauty of it at eye level, which is fantastic, right? You want people to really see the beauty of the different product. So with this, the mechanics is actually a chicken wire roll. So it's just a 12-inch wide, and you know what? Some of you that's doing the workshop will actually be doing it, so you'll see it. So you'll get to see the bare mechanic. But it's I never really cut, like, the chicken wire roll comes in 12-inch. I don't cut it into a 6-inch strip to get a 6-inch, like a smaller roll. I just roll it, all of it, because I want to be able to recover it, take it apart, and use it again as a nice fresh piece. So I don't ever cut into pieces that becomes garbage. So as far as materials go, what were these again? Bromeliad of some sort, right? Like you see, I mean, there's just oodles of varieties of material that when you come, when you're sitting, when you're a guest, you're like, what is that? And you know, honestly, this particular, that lavender lady goes so beautifully, doesn't it? I mean, doesn't it draw you right to this flower? So you're really always picking up the colors that's in this. So this one here, actually, the lavender is a red violet, but the spadix is actually a blue violet. That's why there's permission to use a blue violet, because it connects to this. And same with these bromeliad, it has a pinky lavender violet, but it also has blue violet. So what you're doing is extracting colors that's within each flower. If it's there, then you can that's permission for you to use that color, right? And when you blend that together, you just get this, oh my God, that's beautiful. So you know what? We've become really good foragers too. We go out and look for stuff because that really also helps accentuate with textures and colors, and that it gives it a unique look because it's not the wholesale item. So some of those items were brought in. And so it's really a wonderful mixture. We call it Tropical Nouveau because it has the Tropical Nouveau is, Art Nouveau is a very curvilinear feel and gardeny. Like if you look at the art period, Art Nouveau, it really is like vines, growing tips. And that's the gardeny look, right? So that's why Tropical Nouveau combination is gardeny with tropicals. Does that make sense? Good. But anyway, so next, we're going to move it along. And you're going to, like in a workshop, you get to build all of these things. Like you'll have turns to try out different things. It's going to be fun. So the next piece here is this vertical. So I start with horizontal and then the vertical. So let's just do this so you can see the mechanics of it. Right there, that's what it is. It's actually 2 layers of wire mesh, but it's supported by, this is actually IKEA Torca sticks, which is a willow whips that you can buy. And I know you didn't have IKEA here, so I brought it with me, the bundles. But any kind of straight whips that you can find, I'm gonna keep it to the side because they're very useful for mechanics for building things so that you don't want any of the little cricket things. Those are for the accentuating with additional lines later, but the main structure needs something very straight. So this really fits the bill. And so this way, there's 2 layers of the wire mesh that then is supported with these sticks along the, where it comes together. And then this way, the whole thing, it doesn't collapse because wire itself is too weak. So if you build high, it's going to start to teeter, but this prevents it from that. So anyway, it has these what I call Middlino sticks, also supported by the rustic wire, which is a nice stiff, but it's got a natural finish to it. So that gives rigidity to this. And then the water tubes are attached also so that now you can design into the water in here, but also have ability to put flowers all over and get much more height. And also, it gives you an ability to use even shorts, things that are broken heads, roses that are broken. And so you can't use it in an arrangement, but you can pop it in here, which is really great. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this over here because this is why I have the experts here, because they're going to flower this for me as I move on so that it can keep us going. This is the ingredient here. So what I'd like to do is make note of what's in this design. As you can see, Sexy Pink normally kind of stands alone, way up high hanging. In this, it marries with the roses, beautiful garden roses. Like you never see those side by side unless you do a design like this. That's the beauty of it. And by the way, I want to introduce you to Princess Hitomi, because that's the name of that rose. I'm not the princess, however, though. It wasn't named after me. It was named after Princess Hitomi. But it is a garden rose that you can get from Alexandra Farms. It's the most beautiful rose. Gorgeous petal count, right? It's just so beautiful. Also, we used the bougainvillea, which we harvested and treated, hydrated it, misted it, put it in plastic. We did all the things it needs to make it sustain, because before we wouldn't use it because it didn't always, fold it up. But there's ways now that we can use some of these materials if you know how to treat them to get longevity out of it. And again, it's Hawaii's way of adding that little bit of softness, because that color works really well. But in Hawaii, if you don't have access to some of the garden flowers, although there's lots of those farms popping up here, which is really fabulous. There's a lot of temperate farms going, so it's fabulous. But to be able to see like your ginger, alpinia, big ginger, next to the Sexy Pink, next to that beautiful fluffy rose, you know, that's a dream. That's like trying to marry everything that grows in the world all together in one. But it comes together, not because they're different regional, because before it used to be, the rule used to be that you couldn't mix it up. That was against the rule. You know, men make really crazy rules. But really what it is now is because all of these are available really at the same time, same season, so why not? Let's go on this floral adventure and design with things coming from different parts of the world at the same time. So yeah, what they're doing is, that's the whole idea of the structure, is that, you know, because you have the water source to get that long passion vine in there, so that then it kind of twirls around, kind of going with the rustic wire and all of that mechanics. All of these are kind of lifted away from that original structure, the wire, so that if you put stems into it, like into this spot right here, but if you thread it in behind this, it won't flip out. Like it's got pockets, so that it helps support everything to stay vertical, so that, but yet it's not pasty on the structure itself. It's still floating. So that's why the mechanics are what they are, so that you can get that beautiful feel. We're going to make 2 more of these so that you can see that one, and if you had 2 more over here, so that they're spaced apart asymmetrically, and then if you connect it together with the sticks, those sticks that I have, and then put vine across it, so you have these towers of flowers, but then it starts to marry each other by vines and other material going sideways. So it becomes this beautiful, amazing, transparent flower wall. You know, flower wall has been like so static and so solid that it just seems overdone. Too many flowers, and the effect is just pretty static. But this flower wall is transparent. Flowers and vines are moving from one to the other, so it has really a beautiful gardening version of what it can be. While they're doing that, and they can sort of more or less finish it, I'm going to work on this one here. So this one, well, festooning Hawaiian style versus what it used to be, the wedding celebration, when it was focused on wedding. This time we wanted to show you different events through the year where we can use another way, you know, another celebration, another event to work with. And so I chose actually a sympathy design. And I'd really like to make a tribute to the Maui fire victims, because I really feel like there's been enough time that I really feel like in reflecting, it would be really nice to say, as florists, we really are very sad, but remembering that those people that perished, they were lives to be celebrated. So I like to think of sympathy not as sympathy funeral. I do not like the word funeral. I like it to be more about remembering what they've contributed and how fabulous all these people were, and celebrate their lives. So as a celebration of life, so this is like an easel, but it doesn't look like a usual easel. It has a little bit more flair to it. It has a mandala in the middle. It's like a circle of life. So it's really about celebration. And the vision is that mandala is something that they get to keep, that would have water tubes in it, so they can hang it and they can honor, you know, the loved one by putting flowers in it from time to time, so that there's an ability to remember something that as a celebration of life. So that's kind of what that is a mandala that I created. It's a wire metal ring that has crisscross yarn to the back side of it. And if you can see this, you can see that it's a dome shape. It's been created with a little bit of depth here, so that, and this is all like yarn covered wire, as well as some of this is raffia covered wire, so that it has enough play to be able to give it that dome look. The back side is where the mechanic really is because this is the mechanic right here. There's actually 2 of the chicken wire roll that has podocarpus, little podocarpus chunks in it, lightly, so that what it does is just provide insertion point. It's loose enough so that through chicken wire, 2 layers of chicken wire, with that in between, we can put water tubes in it, or we can put just free stem with stems. So that way, you're putting your flowers through into this, so that it's almost like foam, but it's not a water provider, it holds a stem. But just like Vivian mentioned, I also like to actually free stem the design and then catch the water tube from the backside, cut, and because you can't ever guess exactly how long you want it to be in the water tube. You also it's easier to get the stem in first so that you know exactly where it is to know what the mechanics that needs to be provided. And some things don't need a water tube. A lot of South American roses are really sturdy. If you hydrate them fully before so that it's full, and you cut and insert, it will last from 12 to 24 hours in my case, especially like in the funeral home or interior, you're not gonna have any problem. And the reason why I say this is because even though we like to supply water so that it stays fresher longer, but there's a takedown situation in most part. It's not like, it's not like in a home where you're gonna enjoy this for another 3 or 4 days. It needs to be taken down, after it goes to the cemetery, it gets taken down. In which case, it's really waste of our labor to be water tubing it. It's a lot easier to take it apart, just with a free stem, and it goes to compost instead of trying to separate and do all that extra work. So it just saves time. It's a faster way of designing. And just in general, what I like to do too is I call it sketching. So I have the structure, and then I sketch in where I think I want the flowers, because I don't know about you, but I'm not always that definitive. I want to try it. It's like, I like that, or I don't like that. I want to move it over here. I want that ability. So I'm going to cut and insert into the structure to sketch out what it looks like until I know exactly where the placements are, and then I water tube what's needed. So I have quite a collection. Again, a maximalist approach. I'm using a lot more flowers than I normally do for a piece like this, because I do like the structure itself to be seen. I don't want to cover it all up because there's a lot of work in it, and I think it adds you want to see the mandala. But I have so many beautiful products. I'm like, I gotta show it. I can't stand it not using it. So I just want to go through this. There's a couple of heliconia that has a little bit of peachy tone to it, so it fits into the peach and orange and red combination. It's really analogous color harmony. It's very beautiful. And I like the earthiness of the banyan root because the brown really brings it earthy, and it really is a perfect fit with this combination of materials. So we have Aranthera, orchids. These bromelias, aren't they not the most stunning guzmania? The peach, it's so beautiful. And of course, these were the short ones, and it had a long one. I didn't have a heart to cut it. It's like, I never get it that long, so let's show it over there. Like, I just feel like when you have beautiful product, you just gotta show it. So, and that's about best part about funeral work too. It is about abundance. They don't want skimpy. So that's where actually a lot of dollars lie in that funeral work. I did sometimes better funeral pricing than weddings. Like sometimes, family wants to spend the bucks and want something really gorgeous, so you have ability to do that. Also, the pincushion. It's really interesting that we got these pincushion that's kind of blown open. A lot of the particular growers says, oh, you can't use those. Those are done. Like mainlanders, we love it. Those are daisy-like. We love those. And you can see with its button in the middle there, it's just like really happy flower when it opens up like that. And I just love it. And it really draws your eye in because of that openness. I think that's really beautiful. This rattlesnake ginger is awesome. And I did ask for it, that kind of peachy orange, because again, it has a peachiness at the closer to the lower part of the bract, and it turns into orange. I mean, it just fits into this color palette so beautifully. It exactly connects this to this, right? So that's what you're looking for, is that kind of trying to connect the extract colors out of each flower. And if you use any of those colors, you can't go wrong. You just can't go wrong. aren't these the most beautiful hanging amaranthus? And you know what? I asked for red, and Leah says, oh, we can't get red, but we have this color. I'm like, oh, too bad. It's like so much better than the red. So, you know, sometimes it just happens for a reason, right? But this is just so gorgeous and how it dangles. And you can see, like here, I just took it in water tube and push it into that chicken wire roll, and it just stays in there beautifully. All of the others. The other thing that I have, the tool that I have, and we'll show you how to make these as well, are these extender water tubes. So these are 4-inch water tubes, clear, but I made it decorative, so if you see it, it looks good. But it's on bamboo skewer, and it's wrapped with raffia, so all I have to do where I want the flowers is put it in there like that, and then fill that with water, and just put your flowers in. So that's kind of how I like to see sympathy work. I think it really stands out. This one, I always say to florists, it's so easy to stand out as a good designer. Just go to the funeral, because you see the bad and the good very distinctly. This collection, as you can see, is really what's available from Hawaii. As I've always known it, there's red anthuriums, red heliconias, reds and oranges are abundant. And as is the case in just general scenario, like Greenpoint Nurseries, who I often deal with, you know, they have all the colors, but the first thing they did during the pandemic is to replenish and replant the reds because it's their staple. No matter what, as designers, we love all the other colors, but people still associate anthurium with red, and it is the most requested color. It's just that we wish that they can catch up with the other colors so that they're not in short supply. But they're working on it because we were just there, and their whites are strong coming in. All of that's coming in. So within the next year, we're going to see a lot more of some of these other colors. And of course, a breeding program is constantly working on new varieties, new color. Like there's a beautiful raspberry color that's coming in, that's going to be more broadly planted. I mean, there's just some really exciting things happening in Hawaiian horticulture that is really something to look forward to. But the red is ever present. So when we work with red, how do we make it different so that it doesn't look like the red that you always expect, that you've seen before over and over? What we found, like over the years, when things got, you know, in the 80s and 90s, the Hawaiian tropicals, it was booming because every hotel, big hotels all over the world, and definitely North America, they depended on tropicals to provide the lobby flower because they're the big flowers. You can do huge things. They last a long time. But it went away because Martha Stewart came in and said, we love garden flowers. Everything's softer, fluffier. But, you know, you can't necessarily make the big and stunning as before, but it's just that big and stunning was a certain style that was always the same, you know? And if you know the length of how things come, you know, heliconia was always on the top, right? And then there were the ginger was over here, and grouping was a big deal. So grouping of this, grouping of that, and then there was like protea down here. The kings are down here. Big monstera down there. Anthuriums over here. And then, you know, so, you know, you knew exactly the position by the length they grow, because that's how you get the biggest you can get. But that became boring because it was always the same. And so really when Martha Stewart came in and softened everything, it was a time to sort of check and see what we're doing, why did it go away, and how can we bring it back? And to bring it back, you had to design it in a new way, so it doesn't look like the old way. So that's why we call it Neotropica.
Thank you, Hitomi. What do you think, guys? Fantastic. Yeah? And thank you to Sue and Lois as well. Thank you.
Did you guys like that? It was very enjoyable, very educational, and amazing as usual.
And you know what? I am so happy because I got to see Vivian's program and Leah and Kelsey's program because I was in the back still working and trying to get my pieces done. So this is so awesome to be able to see. And I'm so glad that Vivian's here. Are you coming in from China?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? What we can do today is that we can have these broadcasts and conversations with people around the world. So awesome to see you.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Is this your first trip to the Big Island, Vivian?
Oh, yes, yes. That's my first trip. And then this is so impressive to me. That's such an experience.
What surprised you the most about Hawaii?
Sorry?
What surprised you the most about Hawaii?
Oh, wow. Okay. So it's just how beautiful the Hawaii is. And also for Big Island, what surprised me is the landscape. Because in my impression of Hawaii is like all these big tall palm tree, coconut tree, and then blue ocean. But what surprised me is the lava land. This black, shiny lava land. And then the lava land actually works as a dark background for the green trees and the blue ocean. And that is amazing. Yeah, I never see this kind of landscape anywhere.
That's a good point. It's a natural God-made background.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Fabulous. So Leah and Kelsi, you did a fantastic job. I mean, you guys are real true pros when it comes to lei making. So the question that we had for you was, at graduation, how many leis do you actually make during the graduation season? It's amazing because you're talking about hundreds. So I'm like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, so for us, graduation season starts in May, probably to about June with local graduation. Some people going to the mainland to travel to see their family up there. So I would say anywhere between 1,000 to like 1,500 for the graduation season.
Oh my God. And Vivian, here we thought in our flower shops in Vancouver that making 100 corsages would be a lot of work. Or 200. You're talking about thousands.
That's corsage only.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that was impressive. You talking about the lei making. Are there any questions there?
There are. I have some for Kelsi and Leah.
Yes.
What are some other occasions to gift leis for our audience too?
Birthdays, any celebratory events.
Speak up.
Birthdays are a very popular time to give leis. Any type of celebratory event, people will give leis for just maybe going out to dinner, maybe with somebody that you haven't seen in a while. People coming into the island to come and visit you, we like to greet them with a lei at the airport when we pick them up. Also, leis are very popular just on Aloha Friday. People like to just buy leis to wear for Aloha Friday as well.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it's just what we do. That's the way we share aloha, right?
Yes, definitely. Yes.
Okay. Which flower is your favorite for lei making? Leah or Kelsi?
Yeah. Leah and I.
Is that a tough question?
Plumeria.
Plumeria.
The plumeria is one of our favorite ones too. So it
plumeria
has a nice fragrance. It's the one that you learn how to do first, I think, when you're younger as well.
Definitely.
Oh, okay. We have a question from our viewing audience for Kelsi or Leah, actually. How many gingers are needed to make the ginger kui style lei?
For the full length lei, I would say you would need at least around 15
15
You're gonna plug
gingers.
all the petals all the way to the top.
And this person also noted that it was flat. How does it turn out in a round form?
It's sewn in the flat style, just like the akuli kuli. So it's on the back side it will be flat, but on the front it's a dome shape.
Oh.
And if you wanted to sew it in the round style, then you would just alternate the petals back and forth instead of having it flat on one side.
Okay, great. I have a question for you, Hitomi.
Okay.
Which are your top 3 Hawaiian tropical flowers that you love to showcase in Tropical Nouveau designs when you travel to do design programs around the country?
Wow. So there's so many favorites. But one of my real favorite right now, since it came to become available regularly, are the pure yellow oncidiums. Oh my gosh.
Oh, okay.
They're some of the best oncidiums that I've ever seen. It's full, it's dimensional. It's the pure yellow is so gorgeous. And I love to pair it with like a dahlia, you know, to show that the softness of 2 different kind of regional sources. And so I really love that. I also love any kind of a peachy toned anthuriums. I mean, that's why I keep saying to the anthurium growers, like, can we just sort of pick up the production on that, because that color is so, so beautiful, especially with a different seasonal coloring, you know, with a little bit more antique when it's a little bit older, all the subtle changes on the coloring of it. And I love it in combination with the toffee roses. Oh my God, that just makes makes me just fall in love every time, over and over again. And of course, I love to lace that with the banyan roots. I mean, isn't that right, Vivian? Isn't it? It's just like, you just look at it and go, oh my gosh, that's just like so perfect. Every time you see these materials, just like perfection. Also, I love to show sexy pink with temperates, you know, whether it's dahlia or ranunculus or whatever, because it's something that is so big that's usually made into a huge arrangement, and it's often not in close proximity to a softer flower, a temperate. And so to be able to show that side by side in a design that style or system that works, I love that as well, because it's kind of the surprise. And I think you did that so well too, Vivian, is the combinations of what you can put together that just gives it that real unique, the Hawaiian tropical influence that is only possible with Hawaiian product, right, Vivian?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I have a question for you, Vivian. So when you came for the first time to the Big Island, did you see something new that you haven't seen before that is now on your list of goodies?
Oh, wow. Actually, there's too many flowers and foliage, like, you know, the iron tree. I just love them. I just can't believe it just grows everywhere in the island, and you can just cut them everywhere. And because it's just like, it's kind of like, you know, the hanging willow, but more like dainty, and also it can immediately add those like a flow, airy kind of feel to your arrangement. And also I love the shower tree. That's my first time seeing shower tree, and the blooms is so beautiful. And remember, we go and cut them beside the whole depot.
Yeah. Well, and the key was, and we discussed this, but the key is when you go and cut them, you bring water tubes with you so that you actually water it right away instead of just putting in buckets. That really helps. Any other questions, John?
Yes, someone is asking, what type of lei are you wearing right now, Hitomi?
Ooh, can you tell? Leah, Kelsi.
It looks like a cigar lei.
Cigar lei?
Mm-hmm.
Cigar flower lei?
Looks
All
like
of
that.
it, like the real orange part, and then the little, that other coloring, it's just the way it's twisted?
It's actually the front, like the head of the flower and the butt of the flower
Oh,
in a spiral
I see.
pattern. So you see it
Oh,
a
I see.
different
That's what it
ways.
is. Yeah, I'm thrilled to get it. You know, Judy has sent it to me so that I can wear it. It didn't come till this morning. I didn't have it for yesterday by FedEx. So I'm thrilled to have it to make me feel like I'm part of the Hawaii mixture here.
Great. I have a question for Vivian now. A viewer said, excellent creations, was a comment from one of our viewers.
Thank you.
And also, they added to their question, can plumeria be used as a cut flower other than inlays?
Ooh, that's a good question.
And maybe one of, maybe the girls, Leah and Kelsi can help you answer that.
So plumeria, yes, you could use it as a cut flower. We would recommend that you also water tube it so it does have a source, so that way it would last a little longer than if it's just free stemmed.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be wonderful to bring a little bit of that fragrance into an arrangement.
And our last question for now is for Hitomi. In the sympathy piece, what type or variety of bromeliad is that?
That was a Guzmania.
It's a Guzmania, but is there a name
Yes.
for it? That you know of?
I'm not sure. I mean, you know, there's the usual, the yellow Kapoho, or the Kapoho fire, the red, and then the yellow. I forget what that's called, but that particular variety, that the peachy one, I get it just very occasionally. It's very special when I see it, and I'm just so excited when I get to work with it, and it fits so perfect. But I don't know that variety, what that is. So we'll have to go back to maybe like David Shigi. Perhaps he might be the guy who might be able to give us the name on that one.
Okay, David Chigi, and David Chigi is from Hawaii Island, for your information.
Yes.
And how do
Yes.
you order that variety of Guzmania? Well, I think you
Oh my
just
gosh.
answered that question already.
Yeah, yeah, I think, and it's not always available. Just so you know, that's one of the things about Hawaii, that you have to understand the seasonality and also availability. Sometimes it depends on, especially the colors.
Right, I agree. The flowers from the bromeliads do not bloom all year round. They are seasonal. Yeah. Okay.
But the cuts are super long lasting. So if you have like corporate work, you can sometimes rotate it from week to week for several weeks, and you get a lot of mileage out of them. So they're fabulous.
Okay. Okay, wonderful. That's such great information. Thank you so much, Vivian, Kelsi.
Thank you for coming.
Leah,
Thank you.
and of course, Hitomi. Thank you so much.